I don't know. That is not at all what it sounds like.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
It's a perfect representation. Replication. That's it. That's the word I meant.
Okay.
Rendition.
Everyone obviously knows that was the opening sound for Terminator 1. The Terminator.
The theme tune.
Yeah, The Terminator.
1984.
This is the prequel to one of the best movies of all time.
Wouldn't it have been awesome if they called it Terminator the prequel before Terminator 2 came out?
Right?
Way to be a trendsetter there, James Cameron.
Okay, with Terminator.
Yes.
Like offshoots, because he made offshoots and like, well, that one's good, but all the other rest of them were bangers. I don't know how I feel about Avatar though, but I don't know.
Okay.
Avatar
first of
is
all,
objectively a good movie.
Exactly. Let's not get into that.
One thing at a time, I guess. Terminator, 1984.
Yes,
1984. Iconic movie, like revolutionary actually for its time. It was a fun fact. It was made on a $5 million budget, and then like grossed like $80 million or some shit like that worldwide.
It's peak action because 80s were just full of like testosterone, man's man action, let's go to the theater type deal. So yeah, it was a big fucking deal.
It was like first of its kind, actually. You know, we look at like Terminator like esque tropes today, but they're tropes today because of that fucking movie.
Exactly. I would wager that a lot of robotic against the machine type movies. It's the prototype.
I feel like it's inspired so much things that it's unrelated to the movie. Just
like what?
I know. I know Elon Musk wanted to call Starlink. He wanted to call it Skynet before, but then he made a joke that it'd probably be a bad idea.
Isn't there like an actual thing out there called Skynet right now? A company
Maybe
or some junk?
Maybe.
I just swore there was, but yeah. But yes. Anyways.
So we'll just go over acting.
Movie so amazing? Why is this movie so amazing?
Because it takes someone that he cannot speak English, and it just works because he's a Terminator. He can't, he doesn't talk. He just goes out there stone-faced and tries to kill her.
Well, let's be fair now. The man can speak English.
No, at the time.
Yeah, well, at the time, he probably wasn't doing so good. But
because he was coming off what? Conan?
Conan. Oh, so he did this after Conan, right?
I'm going to
say... Or was Conan after?
No, Conan was definitely before. But I don't know if there was a movie in between the two. I would have to look that up. I wouldn't know that offhand. But Conan was definitely before. And he spoke pretty damn good English in Conan. But he does have a very thick accent, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, what's his face? The guy who played Bishop in Aliens. What is his name? Henriksen? Oh, it's on the. It's definitely a white kid name. Lance Henriksen. Who played Bishop in Aliens, was originally supposed to play that role, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger was applying, and Cameron thought he was applying for the role of Kyle Reese. Yeah. And no, he wanted to be the Terminator, and Cameron was like, "Oh yeah, that's a really good idea." So yeah, so ended up that's exactly how he ended up. Like it was like total happenstance. I could not imagine this movie with anyone else playing the Terminator.
Exactly. That goes for a lot of his roles, actually.
Like lightning in a bottle situation. I could not imagine. Um, Now, as far as like you mentioned acting earlier, what did you think about the acting?
I thought it was good. My only like thorn, I guess, is the sort of special effects. And when you watch it back in HD, it doesn't age. It didn't age that well.
No, no, it did not work very well at all. They had two puppeteer rigs, one for the upper torso and one for the lower torso, and and like the only time you ever saw like the Terminator in his like exoskeleton form, right, or endoskeleton form. Um, it's all like what's that called? It's not claymation. What is that?
Stop
Stop
animation?
motion.
Stop
Stop
motion.
motion.
That's it.
That's it. It's all stop motion, right? And it looks kind of jerky and it's like weird. But again, as a product of the time, uh, I think it kind of works actually a little
I
bit. I mean,
Yeah, I think the stop motion parts where it's the exosuit or whatever it's called, the skeleton. I think those worked. It's the close-ups of his face when he's looking into the mirror, where he's peeling off his eye.
oh, absolutely, yeah. Because you can tell it's bulging out. It's a prosthetic. It's a poorly made prosthetic, right?
No.
But I mean, again, it had a budget of $5 million, and it was also made 40 years, almost 40 years ago.
Oh my god.
Wow, that's kind of blowing my mind right now. Yeah, it was made almost 40 years ago. So, again, something is a little bit of suspension of disbelief there, but still. But the acting wise, like the actual acting, aside from the special effects, what did you think about it?
Overall, pretty good. I never really felt like I was like it was too over exaggerated. Like it felt pretty good.
What about you?
I love Linda Hamilton's. She starts off, as a, damsel, kind of not exactly a damsel in distress, but she's still smart. But she's, but she needs to be saved by Kyle Reese. And I love Kyle Reese. And he's kind it doesn't hurt that he's, kind of, hot at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yes. um,
Michael Biehn, is that his name, or Bean?
I think,
Michael
yeah.
Bean.
I don't know how he looks now. He might be like Tora, but at the time, oof. Hmm.
I'm sure he
Um,
aged well.
so yeah, I was fully immersed. It's high, their peak tense moments, they have to be like yelling at each other because they're going through some shit, right? So yeah, that comes across. Arnold is just iconic. You just can't unsee or not quote anything from this movie.
I'll be back. I mean,
Wait, isn't
yeah.
that from the second one?
Oh, he did it in the first one where
It's a through line through all
Oh,
of them.
yeah, every single movie he did it in. And movies that he wasn't in. That's like his catchphrase. Like
Oh
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure he did it in every single movie he's ever been in, I think. Or
he,
damn near close.
he did it when he was at the police station, and the guy asked him to wait. I remember. He comes back with the car.
Yeah. I'll be back. Linda
I
Hamilton
like
did
when
an
he's
amazing job in this movie. She
yes.
did. And it's I see that's something I don't know. I don't know if it was originally intended to have multiple, you know, movies. I was about to say episodes, but I don't know if there if Cameron was, writing it the intention of there being a part 2, but the character development, this movie stands as a very solid piece of character development for Sarah Connor
Exactly.
because she starts out as just a normal woman. I mean, she does the role perfectly. What would a normal woman do against a machine like this? Of course, you have to have someone there to protect her. And then in episode 2, or movie 2, which we'll talk about in a different episode, but you see that evolution from this to what she becomes. I think Terminator is one of those movies where you appreciate it more after you watch the sequel.
Yeah,
I agree.
definitely.
What did they so did they meet and marry like during this like shooting and stuff? Because she was married to Cameron.
Oh,
That's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, probably. That's how a lot of Hollywood marriages start.
True. That's Mila blah blah blah, blah is still married or was married to Wes Anderson.
Mila Jovovich.
Yes.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's how a lot of these start.
when it comes to the okay, so my brain can't wrap around the time traveling scenarios with the story. I can't. It's like, hey, bro, I'm gonna send my friend back to bang my mom.
Yeah,
I'm all how.
yeah. I mean,
well, he knew. John Connor knew that was his dad.
well, yes, because supposedly, Sarah Connor or Linda Hamilton tells him in the future, which we find out in a later installment of the series, that this is his father.
Right.
And then, of course, he meets him knowing that he has to send him back.
I think in the end of this movie, she's like recording it on a cassette and like telling, like, I guess it's maybe therapeutic for her, but she's also leaving messages for her son in these cassettes. And I think she mentions it.
Which also becomes another big part of the second film as well. Again, a lot of things that happen in this film are super appreciated more after viewing the second film. I wouldn't advise watching the second film first, or I guess maybe you could kind of like be all Terminator-esque. It would be on par for the series, at least narratively.
Yeah, I watched originally the second one first and then the first one afterwards when I was a kid.
I love the scenes. So let's talk about some of the scenes because some of these scenes were really, really well done. So I remember that it was done on like a $5 million budget, right? In this movie, so which is extremely impressive. And I wonder what exactly did most of that money go to? It had to have been like the practical like explosives and stuff, like running
Yeah.
that. Like I would imagine that's where most of the money went. There's a lot of good car scenes in this. If you're big on car scenes, I personally am not, but there are some really good ones.
Yeah, there's like an explosion at the end where his suit or his skin melts off.
There's that, but then you're using they probably got to buy like a whole 18-wheeler for, that explosion.
Oh yeah. I mean,
which is another tie through.
Yeah. It adds to, I think
It's
one of
just
the
really
most
good writing.
yeah, well, one of the most appealing parts of the writing is the fact that it's an unstoppable force, right? This guy's almost like a force of nature. The Terminator, I mean. We're like the only solution is to run. I mean, Kyle's tells her, you run. There is no killing this thing. You just run and you keep running until you hopefully lose it because you ain't going to kill it. And eventually they do, through desperation, manage to kill this thing. But it's a really good monster movie that's not a monster movie. Where he's
That's it's just a
always
man.
he's a man, but he's always in the open, right? It's most monster flicks, the less you see, the more profound it is, right? In this particular case, we got ourselves a monster who's like in plain sight.
True.
Yeah, you don't
But
really
it's oh, go ahead.
you don't really get the monster vibes until you see his point of view and where he's like, it's like a red screen and he's scanning things and you're like, okay, this is unearthly almost. This is just
That's hilarious, by the way. What was that done on, like a Mac Pro?
probably. And you see like his
Commodore.
dialogue options.
Right,
And
yeah.
what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just saying that he technically is hiding because he's hiding his, robotic form under, the skin. Um, but yeah, it's more I think it's more jarring that it's, a seemingly human person doing all that stuff. So yeah, it is like a monster. It is like a callback to, 80s horror films where it's a man coming after you, gonna kill you.
I'm pretty sure that
So,
was a costume design choice as well for him to wear the sunglasses for the majority of the movie. Because when you see someone's eyes, it's a way to humanize them, right? And you're trying to dehumanize this thing. He's supposed to be human-esque, right? But by making it so that he's always wearing these glasses, it it's like a double facade. It's a facade. It's a facade on top of a facade. It prevents you from making like emotional human attachments to him or identifying as a human, right?
yeah.
Because that's the first thing you you make when you meet someone when you have a conversation is eye contact, right? He can't make that eye contact if he's always wearing these glasses.
And one of the best scenes is when he takes all that shit from that NPC, the biker NPC in the I need your.
Your clothes, give them to me.
It's
Wait,
so practical. It's exactly how a computer would solve a problem, you know.
yeah.
What were you gonna say? You said, wait.
I was just confusing the second one.
Oh,
Yeah. I like the scene where he goes to the gun store and he's just checking out all these guns.
I'll
And
take
then
that. I'll take
Scanning
a
it.
little bit of
yeah,
that.
I'll take that. I still quote this movie to this day.
Who doesn't?
Like what quotes? Aside from "I'll be back," what are some like memorable
Uzi
quotes that you
9mm.
use?
Like
Uzi 9mm.
yeah, like some of the games I play. I'll still quote it.
But yes, it is definitely a solid foundation for an action movie. It hits all the right beats. You have the chase scene, you have the or scenes, you have the romance, the budding romance. You have the sacrifice where one person gives up his or her life for the other. You have this indomitable monster that you're fighting or you're running away from in this particular case. Tons of guns all over the place,
Expl-
explosions everywhere. It's a quintessential action movie. There's a reason why this thing was put into the Library of Congress.
That's the thing that yeah. And I just love the theme song. Um, I I love practical effects over CGI. So it's really nice to revisit 80s and 90s movies that actually, because they didn't have CGI back then, of course. But um just the feeling and the magnitude of an action movie back then was just like iconic.
I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it constitutes CGI or anything like that, but I mean, they had some kind of I couldn't tell you exactly what it's called, but like in the beginning where Kyle teleports in, we see the electrical effect of, the teleportation. But aside from that, that's all we see.
Yeah, a
There
lot
was
of it is
some
practical.
yeah. They were jumping away from, like getting cover. And that was kind of janky. It was kind of like a choppy like CGI shot, like CG background kind of thing. But yeah, it was so back in the day where it's like the birthing of those types of effects.
That scene where she first encounters him, where he's walking through the club and everyone's dancing and they're all decked out in like full on 80s. Like her hair, I don't know why Linda Hamilton's hair did not get a credit. Like it should have had a credit of its own. It's like the Da Vinci Code with Tom Hanks. Like why wasn't his hair credited?
I don't know. I think the movie did sell very well in terms of like the story being somewhat believable, even though it is a little bit of time travel.
Well, okay, so back then in the 80s, not so much now, but back in the 80s, there were action movie stars. People went to go see movies for the actors, not so much the overall. It was just a different like landscape back then, and
Absolutely.
yeah,
And it
because
was
now
you were either Camp Schwarzenegger or you were Camp Stallone. I mean, I
exactly.
guess you could be in both, but those were the two titans that were fighting for, you know, the box office, so to speak. And then later on, much later, late 80s, early 90s, we start seeing a third contender coming in who was quickly shut the fuck down, but that was Van Damme.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
I was always Camp Arnold.
Steven Seagal.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
I forgot
um,
no,
about Seagal. Yeah, you can't forget Seagal. But I mean, he really only had like two, maybe three movies. And then it was just like
he
he
was a
went straight to like B flicks.
straight to TV type guy.
Yeah.
was Bruce Willis like big dog back then though too, or no?
Oh, yeah, you can't forget Bruce Willis too. Oh man, I almost forgot Bruce Willis. Wow, yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
well,
soon he'll forget himself. Really sad. That's really sad,
oh,
actually.
why you gotta go there? That poor dude.
You have dark jokes all the time. What you talking about?
Yeah, Bruce Willis. Oh man, Die Hard. Can't forget Die Hard.
But yeah, this movie paves the way for a lot of the genre also, and other movies.
Yeah, there's been so many
Um,
Terminator spin-offs. Like they had the
some are not so
show,
good, but
Yeah.
most not good at all.
the show on Fox was incredible. Oh, I loved it.
Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah.
That was pretty good actually. I was sad they canceled that.
And you just don't see like because of this climate, you don't just see like oozing man action type movies where they're just like screaming and shooting and I'm a man, Rambo type shit.
I'm a man. That's exactly how they do it too. Run on.
True.
They're like, I'm a man.
I'm just thinking of Tropic Thunder, Ben Stiller,
Bang,
like
bang, bang.
boom, 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 boom.
Tropic Thunder. We got to do that one too. The music in this movie is absolutely iconic. Absolutely iconic. I don't know who came up with the tune.
Dum, 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 dum.
Right. That right. You could play that and it would have instant recognition with anyone who's ever seen any of these movies. Like it is, I don't know who came up with it, but it is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Like to me this movie like overall is just like at a higher standard than movies today. You want a good score, you want good acting, you want good action, you just want good story. It's like, do people even try anymore?
Right. I mean, it was lightning in a bottle. It really was. I think you had all the right people in all the right place at exactly the right time. Um, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger. I couldn't. I said it before. I'll say it again. I can't imagine anyone else playing this role. No one. Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Terminator. Linda Hamilton, which I guess for this first movie, I could imagine someone else playing that role, but I can't imagine anyone else playing Sarah Connor in the second film.
True.
So her playing the role in this film just kind of sets up the second. And it would be very jarring to have two different, actors playing that role. So I'm glad that she came back for the second because she absolutely made that movie.
Yeah.
And Michael Bine, man, I am so sorry. I don't know. I guess I should have done my homework on how you pronounce his last name, Michael Bine or Michael Bean. But like he is really good in this role as well. He's a very good actor just all around, and I'm surprised that he didn't make it much larger than he did.
Yeah, he's always like a background guy. I don't understand it. He's like a not exactly like a what's his name? The one that Bill. He's not really Bill Paxton, but he's like a level below Bill Paxton, where he's like in everything.
Right. Well, Bill Paxton, I mean, that guy's iconic in and of himself. Like that dude, I can't I can't imagine him being in any movie that he didn't just improv the hell out of it. Like that guy is
True.
just amazing.
Rest in peace.
Bill Paxton. Oh my gosh.
We're just like all these actors.
There's a lot of big
Um,
name. I shouldn't say big name. There's a lot of very recognizable names in this movie. You got Brian Thompson. Um, Extremely recognizable face. Seen him in a ton of movies. You may not remember the name, but if you Google the name, you'll immediately remember the face. There's a lot of people that are like that. Like Dick Miller, he's also in this movie. Um, Again, if you heard Dick Miller, you probably might not know that name, but if you saw his face, you'd immediately recognize him. Uh, Earl, Earl
Bohem? What's his last?
Bowen is,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that sounds right. He's in this for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, he's like the psychologist, right, at the police station or something.
Yeah, but I mean, again, if you see his face, you know exactly who it is. Lance Henriksen, absolutely.
Did you say Bill
Um,
Paxton?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like Bill Paxton is just another one. Like I think Bill Paxton's more on the upper A tier list of the B tier stars, I guess.
yeah.
But which is a shame because that man is just absolutely amazing in everything. I've never seen a movie Bill Paxton was in that he didn't kill it.
It's game over, Mia. It's game
I'm pretty sure he improv that too.
over. I'm not surprised.
Like he was kind of infamous for that, like improving left and right.
It's gonna be so sad in the next like 20 years when we lose all these guys.
That's dark.
Well, no, I'm saying like all the like Arnold getting up there. All these guys are getting up there. And they're like their names, like back in the day. Oh, you want you like okay, for example, for now, like nowadays, it's like, oh, you want to see that new Captain America movie? You want to see that new la la la. Back in the day, it used to be like, oh, you want to see that new Arnold movie? You want to see that new Tom Cruise movie? You want to see that new, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Terminator: The Dark Fate?
Yes.
Okay, I have
And
it.
the best part about that movie is Linda Hamilton. Cuz like the first I don't think we're ever going to review that movie, so I guess it's safe to talk about it. But for like the first I think she pops up, I want to say in like not right in the beginning, but very in definitely in the first act, like towards the close of the first act is when we see her. So like maybe 15, 20 minutes into the movie is when we finally see her. And like that scene when she gets out of that fucking car and just yeah, it was extremely good. Extremely good. She killed she killed it. And that woman, I don't know how old she is, and I don't want to do her dirty by guessing, but she's obviously older. And the fact that I think it was like 20 plus years, maybe even approaching 30 years, like since she had played in Terminator 2, the fact that she still could kill that role, and I looked at her and like she had the physique, she had the personality, she had the attitude, she smashed it.
You still saw Sarah Connor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But Linda Hamilton will always be top 5 female stars in my list. Like her and Sigourney Weaver, just like neck and neck, like right there.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone talks about like strong female characters, it's like, and how we don't have any strong female characters. The fuck you don't. Linda Hamilton smashed it. Strong female character. Definitely. Or Sarah Connor, I should say.
Terminator 2, which will be the next discussion.
Indeed. Da-dum-dum-da-da.
All right, I want to say one last thing. I guess
Yeah.
if we're going to conclude this, did you know Siren told me that there's a band called, what is it called again? The Terminator? It's not. I think it was you that
What?
told me. There's a whole metal band dedicated to Arnold and his characters in the Terminator and stuff.
I do not know if I know that. I don't think I know that.
Okay, then maybe you weren't the one to tell. But I found out that there's an entire metal band dedicated to making music, metal music, and it's great.
Or Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like that's all they do? It's just
Yeah.
Arnold stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, for the
Wow.
outro, then find one of their songs and play it.
Okay, the band is called Austrian Death Machine, based on Arnold's.
You told me about that.
Did I tell you about that?
You fuck. Yes, you did.
Great shit. Great shit. I thought you told me about it.
No.
Rick, had you told me that she told you, I'd have believed it.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Now I
So,
gotta redo the
like,
song.
for her to be all personally insulted, like, I did not.
You told
Like-
me about it.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I guess I fooled myself into thinking that she told me about it.
Yeah.
It's
Who do
an
I know that
acquired
listens
taste.
to that stuff? Oh, her.
I got quizzed on it, and it was like, "Oh yeah, you didn't know the song by Dying Fetus?" I'm like, "No, I don't." Oh
was-
my god,
That was the best
I
quiz
got
I
all
ever
the
did.
others.
You got none of them. You got zero.
No, I got the other ones. I stole from
Oh,
the other ones.
from everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah,
You got all the heavy metal ones.
that
What was that from?
that was a niche fucking.
I thought you
niche
burped.
fucking genre.
All right, what's this one from?
That's decapitated goat spiller by no.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Da-dum, dum, da-dum. Da-dum, dum, da-dum. Da-dum, dum, da-dum. Brr,
That was way
Yeah.
better. Yes.
Okay.
It was
It actually
better.
came through.
It still sounded like something falling down the steps, but it was better.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was like all on my microphone.
Sorry.
It's like if someone was playing it on a phone and
No, no,
then chuck that shit down a stairwell. Do.
There was no audio difficulties. It was just a bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
oh,
just,
oh,
yeah.
oh.
No, you sounded fine.
Yeah, we heard it all.
Yeah, the whole thing.